Hello everyone and welcome to another New World video. My name's Brian if you happen to be new around here, but if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for checking out this video and I hope that you can use this one to make endless amounts of gold in this game. Now this guide is going to take a little bit of a different approach. This is going to really focus in on how you can use YouTubers and how to make gold guides to profit endlessly. And if you ever look online, if you ever search how to make gold in New World, you're going to see endless amounts of videos all recommending and saying to farm up different things. This video is going to take a slightly different approach, but I'm not actually discounting those videos because those videos are in fact going to make you rich. But it's the goal of this guide is to teach you how to really leverage those videos to profit each and every time. Now, before we jump into the reason and the how to take advantage of those videos, there's a few things that you need to do first. Whether you're a new player, a returning player, somebody who just is getting into this game, or someone who is a veteran, there's some key features that you need to take advantage of all of these tools that are basically in your belt. I'm going to try to set those up. First things first, you are going to need to own a house. And there's a couple ways of going about this. The first house that you get in the game is going to be at a discount. So actually this advice is really going to start to try to point you to focusing in on one territory to level up and picking that territory for what works best for you and then focus leveling it. The reason ends up being you want a house is because you want these storage chests. Being able to put in multiple storage chests into your home gives you a massive amount of storage. Also, leveling up that territory will give you massive amounts of storage. This is going to be important because items don't expire. And while you will be limited to the 500 unique items to be able to store, this is going to give you the best advantage to take advantage of YouTube videos that say go farm X, Y, or Z, because what you're going to do is you're going to put in buy orders and we'll show you guys how to do that. But getting a house is getting yourself storage. I'm not much of a house decorator. Note that I just have some trophies and I have some storage chests. Maybe there's definitely room for improvement. And if you like decorating houses, come hang out in the Discord, help guide me and teach me your ways. I suck at it in real life and it translates perfectly to being bad at decoration in game. But that's not the point of this video. First and foremost, getting this house, right? Like I talk about, hitting level 30 in a territory will open you up for a big house. The reason why you might consider doing this is because you get that 50% discount on your first house that you purchase, whether that's a small, medium, or large. Now, the game has opened itself up to where you can buy a house right away, but I'm going to kind of, I guess, encourage you to maybe take advantage of that 50% discount so you can hit that zone ranking at level 30. Once you hit level 30, then you can choose the house that you wish to choose. But the reason why I end up going with the big houses is because of the storage, value that you get. If you do sell a house, you do get some of that money back. So note that it's not, all lost if you decide to go with a smaller, medium house and then decide to upgrade to a larger house. But note that is one key takeaway. Now, this game has now introduced the concept of various different boosters. You can get these through the season pass, so if you ever are curious, even on the level 1 season pass rewards, you're going to find various different boosters that you can acquire, and those boosters will give you, those items, so which will allow you to level up much faster, and you can always apply these to your character. You can also get these from the in-game store as well, so just kind of pay attention to see what ultimately works. But I would encourage you focusing in on leveling, and if you do have a booster to use and you have time to burn, it does not count off time if you're not actively playing. So if you go offline and you still have an hour and a half of your booster left, that's going to still be applied when you log back into the game. But take this and let's jump in and let me show you how to quickly level up your rank. The first thing I want to point you to is actually the town faction boards. You can see here you're going to get plenty of different territory standing. So take a look at what's going to give you the most territory standing, especially like on these explorers needed. And the reason why you want to do this is you want to pair it with your faction representative quests. So you'll see that you have multiple different kind of quests that you can get from both the town and from your faction. And the reason why you do this is if you pull up the map, you can start to see the various different patterns of things that you can run. Think of these more or less as different lanes. So if you're going to go out and about, you can go and grab multiple of these quests and turn them in and maximize your time with the booster and maximize even your time with your season pass. So you want to be looking at how many things can you do at the same time to be able to maximize all of your goals. And I think New World does a really good job at all this. So working on your zone rep, your territory rep, again, I would say pick a zone. It doesn't matter what zone, whatever your most enjoyable zone is to level, that's where you want to focus in on at least getting your first house or upgrading your existing houses to maximize your storage, because now this all comes full circle. Why do any of this? Why and how do I profit off of the YouTubers videos that tell you to farm X, Y, or Z? And it comes down to buy orders. Supply and demand should be a basic concept in any kind of economy, and New World is no different. When the demand is high for an item and supply is low, the price goes up. And when the supply is high and the demand is low, the price goes down. Going into this and issuing a buy order ends up becoming something that you can profit from. You can see here, items that have a lot of buy orders are easy ways for you to unload and maybe make some profit. If I just hit sell, you'll see that the buy orders are right now stacking up against the same price. But here's where the YouTuber comes in. A YouTuber will find some item value that has a lot of value and they'll profit from it. And they'll be able to take that and tell you about it. And what you end up doing is the most, more than often than not, every time in any game possible, you go and farm those items in hopes that you get rich. What happens is you're not the only one who sees those videos. So they rush out and they drive the supply up, thus driving the volume down. What I would recommend to do in these various cases is you issue your own buy orders, and that's going to mean you're going to need obviously supply. You're going to need places to store those items. Now, if you don't have a lot of gold to issue a lot of buy orders, don't worry, we're going to talk about that absolutely in the next section after this part of the video. But in terms of that, you can actually see that those prices come down. You can buy up that quantity, so they're all farming for you. And then as everybody starts getting frustrated that they're not making money off of this new hot way to farm things up, then you're the one who's sitting on all the supply, and you can release that back out into the economy through sells and be able to profit off of a YouTuber's video. But now let's say, because that's essentially the simplest thing, we've seen it happen time and time again. Farm broccoli, farm X, Y, and Z, farm this, farm that. It ends up being a okay way to make money, but not the best way to make money. The best way to make money is letting people work for you and allowing you to profit off of the wide range of new items that get flooded in through a hot new video about how to make money. Here's the real secret for those of you outside of what we just covered, right? I just showed you level up a territory, do these quests and more. Stop worrying about hitting a hot new item. Stop worrying about going and trying to farm up items for trophies. That's going to happen naturally. What I want you to work on is think about it in terms of gold per hour. By just running around and playing and harvesting and farming, you can find many different avenues of making lots and lots of money. And the key ends up being is just as you're running around, don't think about worrying about being really truly efficient. Just keep going on those things. So as ultimately, again, back in pulling up the quest, as you're running this route, any materials, anything that you find, just keep grabbing it, just keep farming it, and then turn that back in. Every time you go back to town, refine your materials. All right, so to demonstrate this, I'm gonna run a route which is going to hit off these different points. And along the way, I'm going to farm up everything that I can possibly see. So in this way, I am completing quests, I am making seasonal progress, and I'm also farming up various different items and even leveling weapons. Basically, the way I think about it is, how can I do the most amount of things while doing, I guess, one thing or two things? And that ends up being a lot of fun for me, very relaxing overall for me to enjoy. So just note that you have a lot of different options. The key takeaway here is that everything has value. Everything's going to have a different level of value depending on where you are in the game and as a player, but that shouldn't mean that things aren't going to give value to other players as well. So just keep farming up everything that you can see, any kind of materials that you're working on leveling, that you have the right tools for. All of these little investments that you make into your character pay off in the long run. So don't worry about chasing how to craft every super tool and how to be completely self-efficient. Rely on the asynchronous element of the game, the asynchronous multiplayer that other players are playing. The other thing I want you to also think about and take advantage of is seasonal events. At the time of this recording, the Rabbit's Revenge is going off. What ends up meaning is that the market's going to be flooded with lots of game meat and different leather. This would be a great opportunity to put up leather buy orders, pick up all the different hides that you can, and level up your leathering. As you run around, you're going to find all kinds of materials and plants that typically maybe go ignored. Again, having the storage capacity to hold on to these items and sell when there is a large demand for these items, especially with future updates coming, you'll find that there are various different ebbs and flows in the supply and demand. As people come back for new seasons, there's going to be wanting to have and use various different materials that they themselves aren't really willing to farm. And you, the player who's been running these different missions and farming these up, will be able to take a unique advantage of everything that is going on in the game. Now, the beautiful thing about all this is that if you're not using any PvP missions, and if you're not like on a route that's looking for PvP, you can always hit your route and then easily fast travel back to town. And being if you have a house and you're playing actively, you can always easily reset your house cooldown just using a Zoth. So it gives you basically endless amounts of returns to go about it. Now, what you do after you've run your route, there's a few things. You're going to turn in your quest for your territory standing, but you always want to go in and start leveling and refining your materials. Even if you don't plan on turning these into fully crafted items, this is going to continue moving all kinds of progress, especially as you start getting into your higher level ranged. And so with these items crafted and refined, you can choose to either hold on to those or even sell those on the market for money. So we're going to go ahead and do just that. I usually like to check a couple of the different spots depending on really what I've gathered in this case. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the trading post and I'm going to go ahead and sell my various different items in which that I have just recently come into contact with. I always like to compare the buys to the sells and decide if it's worth listing over the course of time. That's going to be something that I'm going to leave that up to you to ultimately decide. But sometimes you're not going to find that big of a discrepancy, so you can choose to decide if you want to go ahead and just take the payout today, or if you want to capitalize off of sitting on it for a while and profiting later. So whenever I turn in my town faction request, I always try to make sure I grab whatever's available, because you never know what's going to be up when it's up. Meaning that occasionally you might go over the town board and there might not be many missions to choose from, so just grab it because you can always even turn it in later, even if it's not listed on the board as well. So just make and take full advantage of that. As you can see here, it's going to work on multiple different avenues for you to complete and make various different projects and seasonal pass progress on as well. So note that that's going to be something that you can take full advantage of as you continue down the pathway. So hopefully this has been a help for you. Hopefully you've gotten some enjoyment, some information off of this so you can keep progressing on your very season. You can start profiting off of videos that basically drive down prices of items for you, and then you can start ideally trying to make the most out of playing the game for everything that you're working on. If you guys have any questions, sound off in the comments below. Let me know how I can be of help. Thanks so much for watching the video. Hit that like button if you feel like it earns it. Subscribe if you want more New World content in your feed. And with that, I'm gonna just wish you all the very best. Thanks so much for joining me. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. But until then, take care.